And just to let you know, my camera's better.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Mr. Mike. So real quick, just to wrap up just our time here at Black House MMA Jiu-Jitsu, we're going to talk to Professor William real quick. So I just want to ask you a couple questions to people so we can kind of harvest some of the wisdom, you know, out of your head. And so I guess just throughout your entire journey and in all your successes, if there's one like technical principle, just something that you've learned that has served you well and that you would pass on to others, what would it be?
Okay, good question. Honestly, I don't know. Let's say tactical more than anything is what I learned. You know, I learned all the techniques. And, you know, you learn all the moves and you work with it, you do it, everything's good. But it's as the tactical, like the approach that you take to apply that technique. That's what is the greatest lesson I learned. And the tactical part that I got was cutting my losses. You know what I mean? Like cut it before the loss becomes too big. So, you know, for example, like the mount position is a perfect technique to explain. A lot of times everybody wants to try to get a submission from that situational, okay? It's tough. It's really not that, it's not an easy position to get a submission from. And usually people have the notion of like, while I go for one submission and he scrambles, I'll catch him in a follow-up submission through the scramble, right? And then, but, you know, as the belts get higher, you know, there can be a chance that you won't get a finish, you know? So learn how to unmount. Be okay with giving up the position and get a strategy to unmount to try to get into side control again to then put more pressure on them, then remount again, you know, burn them out.
That's beautiful. I don't think I've ever been to an academy ever where I heard an instructor explain how to dismount, you know?
Yeah, like you gotta learn how to cut your losses, you know. Plenty of times, like let's say you have an arm bar and you're just not breaking that guy's grip, no matter what technique you're doing. Try to learn how to release that arm bar and go onto the mount. You know, so you know, try to find how to keep that dominance of control. You know, like let it be transitioning to another dominant position, or utilizing the control to stay there, wait your time out, and weigh out your options depending on his reaction. You know, and what you can do. But don't get tunnel vision and be like, oh, I have the mount and I must get a submission. Yeah, that's your goal. The goal is a submission. Yes, indeed. But at some point, you got to realize what are you willing to sacrifice? You know?
Man, Coach, that's some beautiful stuff, and that's some mind blowing stuff because you're right. It's like, I mean, they sometimes you see people missing limbs because they're like, all right, either you die or we got to amputate or whatever. But it's like cutting losses. That's beautiful. And all right, so we got one more question, and this is my favorite one. Is like you've been on a long road, you've worked your tail off. You've had to overcome so much, and where many people quit, you know, like you didn't. So I guess just on this journey, and I mean, having a team that's won like the Pan Ams, like World Championship quality level, what is just the greatest life lesson or the greatest piece of wisdom that all encompassing of everything you've learned that you can share from just your own experience? Okay,
so yes. Being on the team with Cyborg, you know, at the time that we were called the Avengers, and then, you know, we branched off and we were just regular fight sports, you know. We've been blessed. We brought home a lot of team titles. And in that process, I learned coming off from wrestling and becoming a grappler, submission grappler, was if you make every decision, if all your actions are made on the decision of this is what I feel comfortable with and this is what I like, you'll never succeed. Responsibility is shit you don't like. Responsibility is what gets the shit done. It's what gets the job done. Responsibility. So while I'm on the mat, my responsibility is to make sure that I am prepared for every area that the fight may go to. It is what it is. As I came in from wrestling, I already had a little bit of idea of that, you know. So I was like, you know, I started on the ground. I always wanted to stay on the ground. I want to work the ground. And then Cyborg then tells me, Will, with all the wrestling experience you got, let's figure out for you to grab a hold of a leg from any position that you're in. So from the moment I did that, you know, I got real comfortable, and then my winning percentage went up because I utilized the world that I've been in most of my life. But then I got in this little rut and actually advancing in the art of jiu-jitsu, and then that was my problem. I didn't like that. I wanted to be versatile as possible. So then that's when I started telling me, okay, I'm strong enough here. Let me branch off and do like the responsibility. Like my responsibility to jiu-jitsu is do it all as a whole. Do it as a whole. So I got to work my bottom, I got to work my top, and I was just good enough at what I did and worked for me that I was always able to resort right back to my strong points after a failed attempt. But I had to make that choice, like responsibility is what gets you, what succeeds. You know.
Sheesh. This is some next level stuff. Like you know, and I mean, it's a great point. It's like being well rounded, paying attention to like where the responsibilities are, and just the prep work that goes in. It's like, you know, no one ever wins on accident. You know, and so it's a great point. But y'all, all right, so y'all, once again, we got Professor William right here. This guy is the man. He may have beat me in the mats, but I beat him with better quality camera. And I'm just kidding. But hey, we love this guy. And just remember, check it out. If you're in the area or if you live here, you got to come here. And that's Black House MMA Jiu-Jitsu. Come check this guy out.
Miami Beach, guys. All right, thank you guys, and wish you all a good day.
All right. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.